Oh, there you are. Hi, my name is Justin. Welcome to Jazz Noir Studios. This is my first video, so I know that everything is going to go great and perfect, and I'm not going to have any hiccups. Let's try it again. Just fine. I assume that everything will go wrong. I'll cut all this stuff out. I'll just cut out the whole video. It'll just be me saying hello and then roll credits. I might cut that too. So today I wanted to work on an old drawing I had done, probably about 3 years ago, and I just never finished it. What I want to do is ink it and then color it with watercolors. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll see how it turns out. I've been watercoloring for probably about 6 years now, ish. Inking I've been doing a little bit longer than that. So as I go through this, I want to talk about inking, the techniques I'm using, also my art supplies and tools, as well as my handicap of being colorblind when it comes to watercoloring. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's get to work. Or as my old professor used to say, let's make them beautiful. Let's make them beautiful. Justin, man, you gotta get to work, you know, you gotta make them beautiful. And that's what I'm gonna do. Alright, I'm going to start this off by kind of blocking out basic shapes and really framing in the character and the armor and really trying to figure out where I want the light source to be coming from by emphasizing the shadowy parts by making bolder lines, thicker lines, using line weight. Any surface that is going to be facing the light, or is going to be closest to the light, will be a little thinner, a little more wispy. I'll be doing this for a little while using these Faber-Castell Pitt pens. I like these just because they're waterproof. They're not going to run or bleed whenever I add watercolor, which I will later. So I'll go ahead and let that happen, let you guys enjoy the music, and I'll chime back in when the more interesting stuff happens with some brush pens. So as you can see, I'm using a different tool now. This is a brush pen by Pentel. I actually got this for Christmas one year from my brother, and I love it. This is one of my favorite tools. It's really neat if you want to cover a large area in black, but you still have to be kind of delicate with the surrounding lines. It's nice to be able to go from bold to a fine line with a brush pen. I would say the only reason I don't use it more is that I naturally have a very heavy hand, and that's something I've kind of struggled with for as long as I can remember. It's very difficult for me to make kind of careful, thinner, finer lines, more delicate lines. ever since I was a kid, I remember learning how to draw, and everything I would see would I guess try to tell me like you want to use a lighter hand for this, right? Like these are going to be your skeletal lines to kind of figure out where the character is going to be. And no, I wanted to make the darkest line that I could. I would end up embossing the paper with how heavy my hand was. I think I eventually learned how to be a little light-handed when I got into probably my teenage years. I figured out like, okay, you don't have to just tear through to the other side of the paper. And that's another thing I would press so hard is that I would emboss the other side of the paper. You know that thing like in TV shows wherever like they take the pencil at an angle and they rub it on like a post-it or something like that, and it shows whatever was pressed on the other side, and you're thinking like, wow, that's impressive, that guy must have had a really heavy hand. That's what I would do. So using this tool, it's very fun, but it's something that I can't quite use very often because I don't quite have that much control over it. So watercoloring has not always been my favorite. I I guess it had its own set of challenges. Like every medium has its own set of challenges, right? Like well, at least I can speak from experience with painting. So oil dries very slow. It always gets muddy on me if I'm not careful. Um, Acrylic dries way too fast. It doesn't mix properly sometimes because I work too slow. With watercolor, I have different issues. There was a lot of, well, I guess watercolor's just gonna do whatever watercolor wants to do when I first started off. It took me a while to figure out how to apply the appropriate level of water. Like whenever I started off, I just like dump water on the page, right? Like just spill a gallon of water on the page, and we'll see what happens. Don't do that, right? I think it was Intro to Water-Based Paints or something like that. Yeah, so it was acrylic and it was watercolor, and we spent more time on acrylic. I guess they just kind of figured, oh, you'll catch on a watercolor pretty quick. I didn't. Surprise! I did not catch on very quickly to watercolor. I liked it. I enjoyed the way it looked and the effects you could get with it. I just it never clicked for me the way like acrylic did. Acrylic I figured out pretty fast. Oil I enjoyed working with. It was just setup and takedown was always a hassle. But yeah, I think in that class, yeah, that was the class. So I've mentioned this already. I am partially colorblind, and I can't see the difference between red and green. They're not invisible for me. All right, I had some friends in college who just found it fascinating that I couldn't see, like the idea that I couldn't see red. Like I see something, I just don't. It doesn't register for me as red or green, right? So, but they thought it would be funny if everything was just invisible. If it was like I'm not a wasp or something, right? Like I just it doesn't clock as one or another. It's kind of like a question mark, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I remember I went through that whole class probably. I think it was a summer class, so it was about 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And the professor was like, he was giving me good grades, right? Like I got like B's and A's, but kind of low A's, high B's. And it wasn't until the last day of the semester where we presented our final project, which it was a monochromatic self-portrait triptych. Or actually, I think it was just a triptych. I don't think it had to be a self-portrait. If you know what monochromatic is, it's just one color that you either darken or brighten to make your values and shapes or whatever convey form. Triptych is a three-piece painting that can be displayed together or separate, however you so choose. But anyway, I waited until the last day of the semester before I went ahead and said, hey, the reason I decided to do monochromatic is because I'm actually colorblind. And I feel like that's a representation of myself in this self-portrait or whatever. And I see my professor's head poking out, like, why didn't you tell me any of this? And I guess the reason I didn't tell him was just because I needed to make it on my own. And that's not to say that the professors there couldn't, compensate for my handicap and kind of grade me fairly. It's just something that I kind of needed to know that I could do. Ever since then, mixing color, doing whatever, I kind of remember back to my college days, and I'm like, you know what? I made it through an entire class without the professor knowing I was colorblind, and I still came out of it with an A. Like, I made it. So for this, I'm actually using a Winsor Newton Cotman set, I think. By the way, I realize it's kind of late for me to be apologized for this. If I sound kind of nasally or something, my studio is very cold, and I tend to get stopped up. So not only do I have to battle allergies this time of year, my heater broke, so it's a struggle, guys. But yeah, so mixing color here, you really, to mix browns and skin tones, I kind of have to guess, just mixing complementary colors until I get the right kind of shade, the right tone that I think I'm seeing, and then I can apply that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me, guys. I appreciate your time. Remember to hit that bell to be notified of any new videos coming out. I'll run through all this at the end of the video. But thanks for watching, guys. Back to you, me. All right, so I'm pretty happy with it. The watercolors went by a little faster than I thought they would, but I'm happy with the character design and the colors that I ended up going with. I don't think you can really see it here, but well, you saw the video. So I'll upload this to my Facebook page. If you want to follow me there, I upload all of my final products from these videos onto the Facebook page. It's Jazz Noir Studios at Facebook. So come check me out. You can also see my backlog of way older drawings and paintings that I've done. If you'd like to buy some comic books that I worked on, you can check out Halloween Head at indieplanet.com. And yeah, otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. I'll be uploading at least one a week. I might jump to two. We'll kind of see how this whole thing plays out. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, share. You can send me money if you want to. I'm cool with that. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Until that day, good luck and Godspeed.